Hi, everybody. This is Norm Duvet with the Copa Roundup for March 18th. We are over halfway through March, and that is just so exciting. It hasn't been a bad month. I know we were, talking about the heat coming in, but up until last week, it was fairly cool, and so I'm excited that it stayed cool a little bit longer. As anybody who's ever listened to me talk too much, the heat when it starts getting hot, it just bothers me. So, hey, we have got a really great guest this week. Somebody that I've been working with for a long time, and it's just so exciting because she does so much more than her title implies, and her title is big. And this is Sally Harrison. She is the president and CEO of the Mesa Chamber of Commerce. Joining us, Sally. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, you have been a coveted guest for a long time. You're like that guest that Johnny Carson could never get. So I was just so excited when you said yes, I will do it. Hey, by the way, Sally, are you vaccinated for COVID-19?
Yes, yes. I was fortunate. I have a chamber member who reached out and knew that I had some older relatives and asked if I could bring my relatives over to their facility, to their senior community. And when I said yes, she emailed me back and said, okay, and why don't you plan on getting your vaccine at the same time? So it was good because I also needed to travel back home to see some family members that were ill, and not from COVID, but other things. And so I was fortunate enough to get that taken care of.
Well, I think that's fabulous because of our great CEO over at Copa, Sharna Jaffe Piper. I was an early adopter. I like to use that term rather than I got it early, but I was an early adopter. So that makes you one of our Copa Health superheroes. So just thank you so much for that, Sally. We really appreciate it. So for those who don't know, can you tell us a little bit about the Mesa Chamber of Commerce? What your function is within the city? I know you do so much more than a traditional chamber does. And then also tell me a little bit about Sally Harrison and your background.
Well, so the chamber, we literally just found out that we are about 130 years old. We've been trying for years to establish like an actual start date. And with the help of a friend, digging around and literally going through things at the library, we did find some paperwork that showed a start date. So we are an older chamber, and I feel like we had a renewal several years ago. It was kind of an old boys club when I started here, but it's obviously we're a business organization. We have dues paying members. I think of them more as family and partners than members, but we are here to advocate and promote and protect our members. And I think that our team, we're small but mighty. I think we do a really good job of that.
Well, I love your team, and I have to tell you, I consider the Mesa Chamber family, and it's interesting because my family actually charges me to be in that family too. But yeah, Copa Health is a chamber member, and we have been for a long time, and yeah, and I just love it. We really are blessed to be able to be part of the chamber. So, can you tell me just a little bit about your background?
Well, it's not in chamber work, that's for sure. I literally started working for a physical therapy clinic when I was 18 years old, and the owner had just opened his doors when I started, and so we grew together. And I was there 20 years when I decided to move from Washington State here. In that 20 years, though, we opened 20 offices. We started a foundation so we could support the communities that we had clinics in. And when I left, we had about 165 employees. So I learned a lot. And I think through that, and then my family being the family that they were, I think that's where I really got a passion for community service. And so, fortunately, when I got here, I worked in the PT world for another 4 years. But when I had the opportunity to work for the chamber, I think that's really where I belong. It's fun to be part of the community. It's an honor to be part of a community like Mesa. We're a big community, but we feel like a smaller family, right? Everybody cares about each other and cares about businesses, and our nonprofit community is strong. So it's a real blessing to be here.
Yeah, I think that the nonprofit community in Mesa is very passionate and strong. And I know that the business community in Mesa is very strong too. It's growing quite a bit. So I'm excited about that. A lot of people don't realize, Sally, that the city of Mesa actually is larger than the city of Atlanta, Georgia. You know, and when you think about it that way, it's really amazing.
We're big as far as like our footprint, you know, square miles, but we're big with, you know, over 500,000 residents. And it's nice because if you're in a city like this, you should be able to do good work, right? I mean, you've got the resources, and it's fun to watch the growth here between, you know, our city leadership and our Office of Economic Development. We have great partners. We're not funded by the city, but we are great partners with, you know, the mayor's office, the city manager's office, and our city council, and all the departments within the city. You know, we have the fortune of working with a lot of the leadership in the city, so it's been fun.
Yeah, I know that, and I know we hadn't talked about this prior to you know, taping this today, but I know that you were instrumental, the chamber, in working with Mark over at Visit Mesa and getting the autism certification for the city. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
So Copa Health is, I think I consider us a fairly active member in the Chamber of Commerce. And I know that you and I sat down, you know, a couple of months ago, and we came up with an idea about Copa being the network sponsor for the Taste of Mesa. And yeah, I want to mention to everybody that we just got done with the Taste of Mesa this past Tuesday, and it was fabulous. Lou Malnati's pizza. It was just wonderful. But can you tell us a little bit about what the Taste of Mesa is, who can attend, and how someone would get their business or maybe their restaurant? Because I know we feature a lot of restaurants at the Taste of Mesa.
Sure. Well, when I started at the chamber, I was told that the evening mixer was called the Taste of Mesa, and really it's more not so much about food, right? I mean, we do eat, we have drinks, but it's about the flavor of our community, right? And the opportunity to move it around to different locations. But really, it's a networking event. We have a little bit of a program, so there's a little bit of talking toward the end, but really it's that opportunity for people to come after work. So it's very relaxed, and it's just a social time for people to get to visit with each other and get to know each other. I always say, you know, don't come and think you're going to hand out a box of business cards, because people don't care about that as much as they care about getting to know each other. And I believe in building relationships, and then the work and, you know, that kind of thing comes after that. We've had an evening mixer forever, and I think that people come because they don't have to worry about like watching their watch to get back to the office and get work done. It's just comfortable, and you know, it's just easygoing, and people just like to visit and get to know each other. And you know, like I said, we move it around, so we try and visit places that maybe some people wouldn't get to go to normally. We look for some fun things to do or some different things. Obviously, when we have new businesses coming in that want to host, that's always fun too. But yes, we have food, and pizza's always good. You know, they don't have a location of themselves that they could host a big, you know, big event or, you know, a mixer like this. So it made sense for them to come to our location, and we hosted it at the chamber.
Yeah, I know in the past few months, we've had one of these at the Idea Museum, which was so fun. We've had another out at Crazy Air, which is a trampoline park. And I know that you got on the trampoline, but I did not, because I wanted others to be able to use it afterwards, and I would have just crushed that trampoline. But
how do you go to the trampoline park and not jump on a trampoline? It was fun.
Yeah, you look great out there, and actually Bob and other people with you, but Bob Nelson, who's one of your staff.
Well, he was there to pull in. We have some medical visitors, you know, part of the attendees, and he was there just to pull people in if I got hurt.
Well, you know, we have a great emergency response team here in Mesa with Chief Camilli over at the fire department, one of my favorite people. But so, and I know this. Yeah,
we do have the best public safety, I would say, anywhere in the valley, and maybe even further, right? I don't know who to compare those people to, but we do have an incredible team of both PD and fire And it's a privilege to get to work with them also.
Yeah, they take part in our emergency preparedness conference, our annual one that we have every year, and we're having our 9th one in this September. It's just so exciting. And then I know last week we had the Taste of Mesa at the Mesa Chamber, and one of the things that was so fun is we were encouraging people to go around and meet the chamber staff and talk to them, and that was just so fun to see.
Well, it's important, right? I mean, years ago, when we had a smaller staff, and I was then doing the events, I felt like I was the only one that some of our members knew, right? Because I was out doing everything. We have a really great team that is very knowledgeable, and in a big way, they can help members with lots of different things. So we're not kind of, siloed into each person doing one job. I mean, everybody has different roles, but everybody here is helpful, and everybody will answer a phone call, answer an email, and take time to service the members the way that we're supposed to do.
So, I know that the chamber does so much more than just, collect money from businesses and help promote them, but what are some of the upcoming initiatives that you have for the chamber? And what if somebody wanted to get involved? How would they do that? I know that you are also, the chamber, I think, hosts the annual State of the City address, which happened a month or so ago. But what's coming up, and how can people get involved?
Well, first, we have a website, obviously, mesachamber.org, but you can, call or come by it. I mean, we are always willing to take time and sit down and visit with people. And I think sometimes that's even more important, because just reading things on our website, you don't get to ask a lot of questions, right? So if you come in and sit down, then we get to know the visitor too. So that's important. But you mentioned we do a lot more than a regular chamber, and I feel like we do. And part of that is, I guess, because we're in the city that does a lot, right? And we should be part of that. Obviously, our focus is on our members. They pay dues, they pay our salaries, but I look at all the other things that are happening in our city. It's just an opportunity for us to bring other opportunities back to our members. So there's ways for them to get involved. We just finished the State of the City, and then the next day had the Mesa House Heart event. Both really great events, well attended, lots of fun, and lots of opportunities for people to network. But our golf tournament is this fall. It's September 29th. It will be at Mesa Country Club. And then we have our aviation event, which is in November, the Friday before Thanksgiving. We've got a couple of other things that we're working on. One of those things is with you. We're looking at hosting a large concert for some suicide awareness. Not everybody, I guess, tracks that, but we've had quite a a history now of teen suicide, specifically in the region. And I think that everybody would agree that when things like that happen, it doesn't just affect a family, it affects the community. And I think it's the community's responsibility to step up and be part of the solution for that. And so we need to work on awareness, and that would be something that would come out of a concert like what we're talking about. So obviously, if anybody has interest in that, we also work with a group called Valley Against Sex Trafficking, and that's probably a little different than those chambers get involved in. We partnered with Mesa United Way about 4.5 years ago to open the Mesa Veterans Resource Center. So there's some passions that are very close to my heart, but I believe that those are all things that when people understand what's going on, they're important to a lot of people and should be important to a community like ours.
Yeah, I always remember, and I know I'm going to probably get myself off track a little bit here, but I always remember in one of my favorite Christmas shows, It's a Wonderful Life, when George Bailey is saying to somebody, well, doesn't that make them better citizens? Doesn't it make them better purchasers of things? Doesn't it make them happier? And so the things that you're doing really make the city so much more attractive to businesses, and it makes it so much easier to have a successful business, because we're combating issues that I think a lot of other states struggle with trying to address, and we're taking it on head on, and I really appreciate that. But
I appreciate the partnership.
Yeah. So Sally, thank you so much for joining us today. How about you personally? Are you heading back to visit that rainy city up in the Northwest? I know a lot of people decided they would not go there anymore now that Russell Wilson is in Denver, that they're going to be going to Denver.
Oh, bad news. Ooh. Yeah, actually, I go home at least once a year. I went home 3 times last year just because I was able to get there. But yeah, I do plan on going back. My family's been sending me little notes asking if I've scheduled anything yet. And usually it's August, so it might be going home a little sooner than that this year. But yes, I will be heading home. I'm actually going to DC in a couple of weeks. We're taking our Mesa Industry and Defense Council to Washington, D.C. to have some meetings at the Capitol with some of our congressional leadership. So it'll be a good trip, and hopefully the weather will be, well, favorable to me. I don't like cold, so.
Well, I'll tell you what, Sally, every time you go away, we miss you, but I love seeing the things that you're doing on Facebook, and, thank you so much for all that you do. And I do have to make a little bit of a retraction. I know last week I put out a piece for the Taste of Mesa with my good friend, Bob Nelson, and I told him that he was my favorite photographer of all time. And I wanted to make sure, just in case Jeff Bayer, who actually is my favorite photographer of all time, in case he's watching this, I have to say that Bob is probably third. We've got you, Jeff, and then we've got Yvonne Martinez, and we just have to make sure that we get everybody in order there, because Bob does so many other great things. But once again,
he's been growing in his capacity for photography, because when we started working together, I had to instruct him to take pictures from above, so we didn't have any double chins.
I like that. I mean, that's why I set up everything, so it's much higher up here. I mean, you all can't see my setup, but so anyway, thank you, Sally, so much for joining us.
Thank you. Always good to see you.
Okay, everybody, that is our Copa Roundup for this week, Friday, March 18th. Next week is the last day of March. And I always say that like I'm surprised that, the days keep rolling along, but we've got so much going on here at Copa Health. I believe next week we're going to be having Latrice Hickman or somebody from her team that's going to be on the Copa Roundup talking about compliance. And she actually uses the term fun compliance. And I have to tell you, Latrice has actually turned our compliance department into a fun place to deal with. Their number one goal is getting to yes, and I just think that's fantastic. So until then, if you get an opportunity, just like Sally, our Copa Health superhero, go out and get a vaccination if you haven't already. And I'm not just talking about COVID. You need to get the flu vaccination too. You need to take care of yourself. And also, if you know of somebody that's struggling these days, reach out to them, just check in with them. Sometimes the only thing you have to do is ask. So until next week, everybody, take care, and we will see you then. Bye now.